For the past 2 years, I have been in denial of my issues and of myself. But after some self-reflection, I've come to realize that I have a problem. So instead of dealing with it like a normal person or trying to get help, I thought I would just talk about it in a YouTube video. So what is this addiction I have that's very serious and life-threatening? I am addicted to trashy harem shows. I know, it's a very serious condition that I've developed and might have gotten to the point where I might never be able to recover. And for those who don't know why this is extremely serious, is that this condition comes with a side effect. The no bitches side effect. But to make more sense of what's going on, we need to talk about the new anime buff. Just bear with me for a second. To all the anime fans out there, you very well likely had this buff where you could watch 100 million trillion episodes without breaking a sweat. A random 12 episode show? Light work. A 25 episode show? Low-key, half a day journey at most. All of One Piece? 1 week max. But as you all know, the more you consume and the more you take, suddenly and abruptly, watching a singular episode of an anime becomes nearly impossible. And usually that's that. It's just the nature of life. Usually when this does occur, the average viewer would branch out into different mediums, whether it be manga, light novels, or even regression manhwas. And I went through this exact situation. After a year or two of watching anime, I couldn't do the impossible anymore, watching an episode of an anime. But suddenly, out of nowhere, something insane happened. I got the buff back. I don't know whether I was blessed or cursed, but what was once a distant dream suddenly turned into something I could grasp. I was watching episode after episode and I couldn't be stopped. So you'd think, hey, that means you're watching good anime, right? No. Now back to what I was saying before about my addiction, you know, the whole point of the video. I am addicted to trashy harem shows. And before I denied it, I can stop whenever I want, right? After this one, I'll watch a good show, right? Hell nah. You see, the spring season of anime had come to an end. While yes, this season of anime wasn't the best, well, it really wasn't good at all. On reflection, out of all the shows I started watching and kept up with, it turned out to be just one show. By the end of the season, there was only one series I had been keeping up with weekly. It could have been Fire Force, it could have been maybe Witch Watch, maybe even a shitty isekai. No. I was watching the fucking Shiuni family. I was watching the shitty incest slash not really incest because they're adopted anime. And I fucking loved every second of it. Some background for this series, this anime was created by the author of Rent a Girlfriend, which, don't worry, we'll get into later. This series is so stupid. The whole show is everyone weighing in on if being adopted changes anything about how you perceive your family now that you know you're not blood related. They make it out to be this very thought-provoking dilemma, but in reality, it's the most simple brain-dead waste of time to think about. If for my whole life I've known my siblings as my siblings, then even if I found out they were adopted, all I'd be able to see them as is my fucking sibling. No normal person would find out they're not related to their sibling and suddenly wonder if they can marry them now. What? The whole first season is watching all these sisters fall in love with the main character, and when I tell you this show should not be fun to watch. The drama is so forced 90% of the time, no one actually acts like siblings. I'm surprised they didn't realize this sooner, and there's always a sibling that goes missing for some reason or another. But trust, I swear, this shit is so fire. See, the thing is, the only reason it works is because it's an anime. I tried reading a bit of the manga, and for the life of me, I couldn't get past page 1 because of how boring it is. But because my addiction allows me to bypass common sense, I'm able to binge the whole thing without even realizing. Anyways, this show is a solid 5 out of 10, highly recommended. You see, at this point, I didn't think I had a problem because it's just a seasonal anime. I always watch seasonal anime. But you see, throughout spring, I found myself searching. Without even realizing, I was searching for that feeling only a shitty harem series could give me. And then we get into case number 2 of me slowly realizing I have a problem. So one night I was trying to find an anime to watch and I decided, you know what, maybe it's finally time I started 86. I heard that one's pretty good, but no. I decided to watch My Stepmom's Daughter is My Ex. I don't know what's worse, the fact that I decided to watch it or that I actually enjoyed it. I think it's the second one. Okay, gun to my head, someone says to me, explain why My Stepmom's Daughter is My Ex is a good show. Yeah, I'm getting shot, I can't lie. Look, if we're being real with each other for a second, this show fucking sucks. And as the title suggests, this is the entire show. They used to date, and now their parents are married, and they have to hide the fact that they dated so that they can be happy. They also act like they hate each other, even though they were about to make out in the first episode. Did you guys just forget about that? The jig's up, you know? There's like no Like, what? So yeah, I think they wipe their memories off screen or something and they just keep acting like they hate each other. But if I did have to give the show some props, it did a good job of explaining why most relationships of their age don't work. You see, they always hung out, but despite that, they never got to truly know each other. So once that honeymoon period ended, they started to resent the other person over the choices they'd make. And these aren't crazy choices, right? They're just choices. And it could easily be solved by communicating, but instead they ignored it until it kept piling up and then eventually they broke up. Now normally that's the end, but then their parents got married, so suddenly they were forced to be close again, and it's at that point they actually started to learn and grow to understand the other person. You see, I could fuck with that despite how much of a mess it sounds like. It's just that the rest of the show is stupid. And it's funny because I went into the show thinking I was gonna hate it. Hell, I remember when it first came out and I laughed at how stupid it sounded. It is. I was justified back then, it's fucking stupid, but I don't know whether it was because of how low my expectations were or just because a part of my brain has stopped growing, but I liked it. I watched the whole series in one night and I have no regrets. Would I recommend this show to anyone? Fuck no. Do not watch it. But I'm still gonna go on record and say I had a damn good time watching this show. But even still, I just couldn't comprehend that I indeed have a problem. However, there was one show that forced me to realize that it's not that I have a problem, it's that I am the problem. Rent-A-Girlfriend, baby. You see, I watched this show when it came out all the way back in 2020, and if you told me that 5 years later I would catch up to the rest of the show, I'd tell you to end my life there and then, because why the fuck am I watching Rent-A-Girlfriend in the big year of 2025? So why did I watch this horrible show? I don't know. There was just something inside me, probably a terminal illness or something, that just really wanted to watch Rent-A-Girlfriend. And after catching up all the way to season 4, I can safely say that it was the biggest waste of time I have ever spent watching a series, or even just living in general. If you don't know about Rent-A-Girlfriend, then this is your chance to be saved, because after I explain this dumbass show, you'll lose about half of your brain cells, and to those that are unfortunate enough to have already lost them, then go watch My Stepmom's Daughter Is My Ex or something. This series follows the worst protagonist in anime, Kazukak. Kazuya. He basically had a girlfriend, but she realized he was a bum that had no value in life, so she decided to dip, and this made him very sad. So he does what any sad person would do and rents a girlfriend. Pretty depressing, but it gets worse. He basically calls out the rental for being fake, despite ordering a service where you have a fake girlfriend. Then other stuff happens, they end up being neighbors and their grandmothers are best friends, and then they're forced to lie to their friends and family about a fake relationship, and I really can't be asked saying anymore. It really isn't worth it. Bottom line, this show is a definition of not a dicky bird, and I'm pretty sure that's slang for meaning nothing at all. Because the series has 4 seasons, and for some reason, nothing's happened. You'd think after 4 seasons, Kazuya would lock in and actually learn to not be insufferable, but he still is. He really hasn't changed in the slightest. No one has. Mitsuhara, and yes, I know that's not her actual name, but I don't care. Fucking Kazuya still calls her that. She just gets worse and worse as the show goes on. Ruka's crazy, but is honestly the best thing to happen in this show. Mami is a bitch, but honestly, everyone's a bitch, so I can't even blame her. Sumi just moans the whole time, and Kohai Girl is actually pretty chill. I'm not gonna lie. So if you've been paying attention, then you know my opinion of this series is very negative. Yeah, I caught up in one day, so all my credibility kind of just goes in the bin. Well, actually, I reckon it was in the bin a long time ago. Despite nothing happening, I still managed to be entertained. And when I mean nothing, I'm mainly talking about progression. Events do play out in the story. Her grandma dies at one point, so it's not like nothing's happening at all. But come on, it's been a whole year and this waste of sperm is still getting nervous around her. You know what? I need to talk about that. I'm not exaggerating when I say this, but Kazuya, whenever Mitsuhara is on screen, just absolutely glazes the shit out of her any chance he gets. How many times do I need to hear this guy say she's beautiful or that she's strong? And this guy doesn't hold back on the details. He'll go into depth on why she's beautiful. And sure, it's fine after the first time, but after the millionth time, it gets a bit much. He genuinely glazes her so much that I feel that even if he saw her taking a shit, he'd still comment on how well she does it and how beautiful she looks taking a shit. Also, for some reason, whenever one of the women is on screen, there's always random guys commenting on how beautiful they are, and it happens every single time. This also happens in the Shiuni family, but seriously, it's the most annoying thing ever. Rent-A-Girlfriend is a hot pile of dog shit, but I have no regrets about watching it. I assume that the way I feel watching it is the equivalent of someone that watches trashy reality shows and how that makes them feel. So is it really all that bad? Yes. Yes, it is. And I am finally glad I am done with this video. I have absolutely nothing more to talk about. No. I am done. There is nothing left. Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. So Rent a Girlfriend was created by Reiji Miyajima. And to put it lightly, this guy is mentally insane. He's very well known for having a public relationship with the main heroine of Rent a Girlfriend, Mitsuhara. Now, if you guys are listening closely, then you're probably thinking, wait a minute, she's not real. And yes, you are correct. But this guy, especially on his Twitter page, goes as far as to say, and I quote, "This girl is my beautiful girlfriend and her name is Chizuru Mitsuhara. She's a very kind girl and she always forgives me in the end, even if she gets really mad at me afterwards." Then he has pictures of her out and about edited into real life. And these aren't the only things he's said. To be fair, if I had to write something as bad as Rent a Girlfriend, then I'd probably become as bad, if not worse than him, so I can't really blame him. He's also married and has children, so this makes it about 100 times worse. And because of how he displays himself to the public, a lot of people think that Kazuya is actually a self-insert for the mangaka. And I don't want to make any outrageous claims, but I mean, chess speaks for itself. It's really weird to think about because Kazuya is the lowest of the lowest, fantasizing about the girl he loves getting raw dogged by someone else and how in general he's just a really gross person. But you know what? We listen and we don't judge. Until that person is out of sight. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you for some reason haven't lost all respect for me, then consider giving this video a like. That would be greatly appreciated. And if you're new here, subscribing would mean a lot. I started making this script all the way back in June, but I honestly forgot about it. So if you were confused about why I focused so much on spring, despite it being summer right now, well actually by the time the video comes out, it will be close to fall. Yeah, my schedule is all over the place. But yeah, that's why. If you want any updates on my addiction, then all I gotta say is that I am chilling right now. Yeah, I reckon that's just in remission or something, but I haven't been watching trashy harems in a while. But you know what? All it takes is that one show to bring me right back into the depths of hell. But anyways, that's all I have to say for now. See ya.